This podcast, brought to you by Anchor, is currently non-profit making and is based on the second edition coursebook on international history from 1870 to 1945 for Cambridge International AS Level History. Welcome to another episode of my podcast, in which I will be speaking about the Kuomintang Party and looking into the differences between their leaders, Yat Sen and Chiang Shek. In the early to mid-1920s, the Russian Kuomintang helped to persuade a union between the Kuomintang and Chinese Communist parties. The parties of China were willing for this to happen, as they knew a united China was necessary to solve their problems. Although the Kuomintang was not a communist party, Yat Sen saw the benefits of working together with the communists. As a result of the union, Yat Sen sent General Chiang Kai-shek to Moscow to receive military training so he would be able to head an academy for the KMT in Whampoa. Additionally, he had received military training in Japan ahead of the First World War. Despite being the two main leaders of the Kuomintang, Yat Sen and Chiang Kai-shek came from opposite backgrounds and had some very different beliefs. On the one hand, Yat Sen was the son of a peasant farmer, and he spent much of his life in the West and had grown accustomed to their methods of education, industry, political ideologies, and so on. His beliefs are intertwined with his three principles, which were supposed to shape and be the aims of the Kuomintang Party. Firstly, he believed that China should develop into a strong, independent country that was free from the interference of foreign powers and respected by them. Therefore, his first principle was nationalism. Secondly, he wished for China to adopt a democratic government, similar to those in the West. He was against the rule of dynasties, warlords, and the like. He believed in order to fulfill this aim, China would need to revolutionize their education system. Therefore, his second principle was democracy. Thirdly, Yat Sen wanted to make society in China more equal, removing a clear class system by improving the lives of peasants and the working class. To do this, he would need to improve the education system and its availability, while also educating and adopting more efficient and advanced agricultural methods. This principle is most used in arguments to support the fact that Yat Sen was a socialist. However, although he wished to redistribute land to peasants, unlike the communists, he was opposed to confiscation of property from the wealthy. Therefore, this was his third principle, social and economic reform. On the other hand, Chiang Kai-shek was born into a wealthy family. Unlike Yat Sen, he had grown up in a traditional Chinese Asian society as he was educated in China and Japan. He believed in preserving Chinese culture, such as their system of government, through one powerful leader. In the future, Chiang becomes the president of China, and he takes very much the position of a dictator. However, Chiang Kai-shek and Yat Sen had one common belief of nationalism, and their leadership contributed to an increase in support for the Kuomintang. This is because it reflected the growth of Chinese nationalism among the people who sought freedom and independence for their country. They had faced over 100 years of humiliation from foreign powers and were seeking an end to their problems. Secondly, the views of Sun were in line with the aspirations of students and intellectuals, such as those who had participated in the May 4th movement. Additionally, the Kuomintang offered the prospect of ending chaos caused by warlords. The rule of warlords had increased as they had been left largely unchecked since the collapsed Manchu dynasty. Many people, such as the peasants and working class, were tired of being ruled and oppressed by the warlords. Finally, the collaboration with the Communists and the Soviets broadened the appeal to the KMT, again, especially to the peasants and workers who wished for an improvement in their quality of life, which would come with equality. The popularity of the Kuomintang Party continued to increase, particularly in their base of the Guangdong province. However, they still wished to expand their authority to the rest of the country. Join me in the next episode where I will look into the Northern Expedition, through which the Kuomintang were able to further increase their power and influence, particularly where needed in other parts of the country. This is the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening. Please consider using the links in the description below to leave a voice message for me, leave feedback for me, or visit my website which hosts additional revision material. Depending on which app you are listening to this on, you could also rate and review the podcast. Thank you.